Good morning. This is PW, and I'm here to show you how to be a lead editor for our Studio Broadcast Productions program here at Granada High School. In this part, we'll be looking at how to copy media into your event and label that media. A week or so before the show, you're going to create a dated folder on the desktop to store all of your files. For this activity, please add practice to the name of your folder as well as your name and your partner's name. My footage is all on my external drive, but yours should be sitting in the upper left-hand corner of the desktop. That folder should be called Lead Editor Practice Week 6 El Aviso Raw. Inside the folder, you should have Week 6 B-roll, Week 6 backgrounds, Week 6 lower thirds with a project library in it, raw H4n, raw panel, segments, sounds, and the finished video El Aviso. On your desktop, you should start off by creating a new folder. Name this one Week 6 Video El Aviso Practice, your name and your partner's name. Inside that, you'll create folders for raw H4n. You'll copy the files from the audio engineer's SD card into here. B-roll. This folder will also hold all of the B-roll that is given to you by reporters or located by your computer graphics generator number 1. Backgrounds. You'll place any background designs that your computer graphics generator 2 comes up with in here. Footage, to hold the footage from your panel operator or perhaps the cameras if something didn't go right with the panel. Segments, where your segment producers will copy their segments to. Lower thirds, for your computer graphics generator 2 to place their Final Cut Pro library into that contains your lower thirds. And audio, for additional sound or music pulled from licensed sites or created by our students in GarageBand or other appropriate programs. Now, open up Final Cut Pro. Once it is open, make sure to close any open libraries. Right-click on the library and choose Close Library. We have our library area here. Once we have footage, it will show up in our event or footage areas. We also have our timeline, our viewer, and our lower panels. We have panels here for our effects and another for our transitions. In our upper panels, we have music, photos, and movies, which show us what you have in iTunes, GarageBand, or Photos. We also have the titles and generators panel. We also have our inspector panel and our audio meters. If you don't see your audio meters, click on the mini meters next to your LCD readout and it will bring up your full-sized meters. These audio meters are extremely important for you to have up at all times. Now, create a new library by choosing File, New, Library in the menu. Name it Week 6 Video El Aviso Practice, parentheses, your name and your partner's name, end parentheses. Keep the .fcp bundle at the end of the file name, and we want to save it in the Movies folder. The Movies folder is the default saving location for Final Cut Pro. Remember that Final Cut Pro will always create a default event for us with the date. Change that event name to match our folders. We'll have a footage and audio from show, another one named B-roll, another named sound effects and music, another named segments, titles, and credits. We will also need an event for our project timelines. We might make more later on, but this is a good start for the number and style of events that we've created. We'll create a new project inside the Timelines event named Week 6 Video Eleviso Practice, your name, and your partner's name. We'll keep it set to the default settings so that it adjusts the settings based on the first clip in. This is mostly all that we can do a week ahead of time. A couple to a few days before the show, the director and computer graphic generators will choose backgrounds and themed audio music to use. They'll copy those files into the proper folders that you created on the desktop of the production computer. They will also choose the design for the lower thirds. When they are finished, they will place their actual Final Cut Pro project library from their computer into your folder. They will also create your title sequence and graphics into your segment folder. Finally, they'll also copy B-roll into your B-roll folder. Reporters may also copy B-roll into your folder as well. On the day of filming, you want to be inside the production room. You're not there to discipline people, but you want to keep track of the best takes. And if you notice that something isn't going correctly, notify the director so that they can coach or guide their crew a bit more so that you end up with the best material possible. During take 1, I'll take notes about how that take goes, how the timing of the panel operator is, how close the camera operators and audio engineer are starting and ending their recordings. As it goes on, you might mark down which take you believe is best or any that you just want to skip and not even bother syncing. After recording is finished, you will copy the files from your H4n into your folder and the panel footage from the solid-state drive into your folder. When they're done copying, give those cards back to me so that we can keep them safe until we know things are working properly. For today's activity, I'm not going to have you copy the files from my practice folders to your folders. But know that you will need a set of folders to put all of your stuff in once you are a lead editor. So now that you have all of your materials, it's time to begin importing the media into Final Cut Pro. Click on the Import Media button, or in the menu, choose File, Import, Media. In the Media Import window that opens, notice that it's set to add to existing event project timelines. That's because the project timelines event was highlighted when I chose to import media. Change that event to the B-roll event. Normally, you will always copy the files to the library. For this activity though, I'd like you to change that to leave files in place. This is because today's files are about 98 gigabytes in size, and it uses a lot of space to duplicate those files on your local hard drive, especially since you've already copied them to your computer. You're going to select your desktop and find your folder called Lead Editor Practice Week 6. Then I'd like you to choose the Week 6 B-roll folder and choose Import Selected. Now, there is an HTML file inside here that's not going to import, and that's okay. That file shouldn't be in there anyway. Click Continue to continue the import. Next, go to Import Media again, and you are going to add to the existing event footage and audio from show. Select your raw H4n folder and your raw panel folder, and then click Import. Next, I'll choose my Segments, Titles, and Credits event. We'll import media into that existing event, and I'll choose my segments. The titles and credits aren't created yet because we'll be making those, so it's only the segments that we'll copy right now. I'll also choose our sound effects and music and import our sounds into that event. The item I'm missing are the backgrounds. I'll create a new event called Backgrounds. I'll import media and import week 6 backgrounds into it. I've chosen to not bring in the lower thirds just yet because it's a Final Cut library, and we'll explain more about that later.